Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Pearson. I am a nutrition student at the University of Manitoba in my final year of the degree. I am going to be showing you today how to make a easy layered bean dip, which is really healthy and contains two different beans that are good sources of iron for you, as well as your baby who has now started eating solid foods. But before we begin making the bean dip, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the importance of iron for you and your baby. It is important for pregnant women to get enough iron because this is going to help your baby grow and it's going to help their brain to develop. Actually, did you know that developing babies are building up a store of iron that they can use after birth? So this is why pregnant women need more iron than non-pregnant women. Actually, Health Canada recommends that pregnant women consume a daily supplement of 16 to 20 milligrams of iron per daily dose. So I'm going to show you on a vitamin D bottle here where you're going to check for the amounts in the supplement. Here you can see on the front of this bottle the amount of vitamin D in this supplement. As well, you can turn the bottle around and on the back it will also tell you the amount. So although this is a vitamin D supplement, you're going to check in the same areas on your iron supplement bottle to see how much iron is in that supplement. And as well as supplementing iron, it is important to include high iron foods in your diet. And I'll share a few of these with you in a moment. Now, after your baby is born, until they're about 6 months old, they're going to be getting enough iron from formula or breast milk, as well as from the iron that they stored in their bodies while you were pregnant. Babies 7 to 12 months of age, on the other hand, need about 11 milligrams of iron every day, which is more than an adult man needs, so they need a lot of iron. You can make sure that your baby is getting enough iron by introducing high iron foods when they're about 6 months old. These are going to be the first foods that you want to introduce to your baby. Start by offering them iron-rich foods 2 times a day, as well as the breast milk and formula that they're already receiving. All right, ready to hear some sources of iron? Animal sources of iron include pork, chicken, beef, eggs, and low mercury fish, such as trout or salmon. Some plant sources of iron include lentils, peas, beans, tofu, and iron-fortified infant cereal. Now, we don't quite absorb the iron from plant sources as well as we do from animal sources. So our bodies need a little bit of help to absorb those plant sources of iron. And we can help our bodies by including a food containing vitamin C in the same meal. Some of these foods would be cabbage or broccoli, tomatoes, green peas or oranges, or other vitamin C containing foods. And all the foods that I've mentioned can be offered to baby as long as they're the right texture for your baby to eat. Okay, we're going to move over to the table now and start making the bean dip. This dip contains beans, obviously. This is a great source of iron from plants. And it also contains tomatoes, which is a great source of vitamin C to complement the iron from those beans. So that just makes this bean dip a really great source of iron for you and for your baby. All right, so this is really easy. I started by rinsing my cans of beans. I have a can of beans in tomato sauce and a can of kidney beans. And then I opened the cans and I added the beans in tomato sauce into my bowl, and I rinsed my kidney beans in this colander here and then added them into the bowl as well. At this point, if you want to take out some beans for baby, because beans are a great source of iron for your baby, you can take some out and either mash those or cut them up into whatever consistency baby is able to eat. Okay, back to the dip. So, we are going to mash the beans either with a fork or a potato masher, whatever you have available. I'm going to use a potato masher today. So I've already started mashing these beans, and I've got them to about a consistency that I like. I like mine with a chunkier consistency, but you can mash them a little bit further if you like yours smoother. So you can see how they look now. And now we're gonna add our spices. So we're gonna start out with 1 teaspoon of chili powder. Now remember, if you're giving these beans to your baby, do this before you add their spices. All right, 1 teaspoon of chili powder. And then we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. And finally, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. These spices smell really good. Okay, now you can just mix this all together. And if there's any spices that you don't really like, you can just omit those or swap them with something else that you do like. Also, instead of adding all of these spices, you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning in those little packages. So you would just add 1 to 2 teaspoons of those instead of the spices that I've added here. Okay, our bean dip is done. So easy. And now we can actually make this bean dip even a little bit fancier by making it into a layered dip, which I'm going to show you now. So we start out by adding our beans. Well, we start out by choosing our container. And I have here a clear glass 9x13 casserole dish. This is a great dish for layered dips, but you can use whatever you want. You can use a clear bowl like this, or a dish that isn't clear as well. I just like the clear ones because then you can kind of see the layers and it's really nice. All right, so we're gonna add our bean dip. And spread this out on the bottom to make the first layer. And then we're gonna add our second layer, which is 1 cup of salsa. Measure that out here. About a cup. And then we're gonna just add that right on top of the beans. And smooth that out in a layer as well. Now we're gonna add 1 cup of plain low-fat yogurt. This is a great alternative to sour cream. All right, so I've measured out a cup of that yogurt, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the salsa. Just spread it out onto another layer on top of that. Okay, now we're gonna add some fresh ingredients to this dip. With all your fresh ingredients, you wanna make sure to rinse these in cold running water before you chop them and eat them. So we're gonna start with 1/2 cup of chopped lettuce, which I have already rinsed and chopped up. And we're gonna just sprinkle this on top to another layer. And then we'll add a layer of chopped tomatoes. You only need about 1 to 2 tomatoes for this. Now we're gonna add 1 to 2 cups of shredded cheese into our final layer. Of course, we can't forget about the cheese. So this is our layered bean dip. Doesn't that look delicious? I'm so excited to eat this later. So you can eat this with baked tortilla chips or whole wheat crackers, pita bread. You can just put it in a tortilla for a wrap, or put it on top of anything you're having for dinner for a little extra flavor. Tonight, I'm gonna try this on top of some quinoa for a Mexican-inspired bean quinoa bowl. I'm so excited. All right, thank you for listening to some sources of iron and how to make this bean dip with me.